So today I want to discuss with you stress and panic. Everybody seems to be stressed out, panicking. Well, so I thought I'd give you a little advice. There's not much more I need to tell you about what you don't already see all the talking heads talking about on television. So I don't need to go through that. As a matter of fact, the more you listen to all that stuff, they're just regurgitating and repeating the same exact thing. The only thing that changes every single day are the numbers. What really needs to change is our behavior, who we are, and what we're doing to ensure that we're healthy. So now, why are people freaking out? Why are people stressed? Well, you know, there's a subconscious thing going on. We've been hit with something that has rocked us to the core. And what's happening there is that we're really actually, maybe not consciously, but subconsciously taking inventory on where we are in our own lives, what we've been doing throughout our life, and gee whiz, what are we going to do for the future of our life? Well, a lot of people are freaked out because they know innately that maybe they haven't been living the optimal lifestyle. Now, I'm not talking about restrictions. I'm not talking about being a vegan, a vegetarian, or a keto person. I'm talking about whatever we've done in our lives throughout these decades has had a significant impact on where we are today. It only makes sense, doesn't it? So, if we have done certain things in our lives that we thought we got away with, well, we did, in a way, until we get a little older, and then it catches up with us. So something that you did 25 years ago could be catching up with you today. Some of you are displaying behavior that you were doing 20 years ago that you're still doing today. Your body, your brain, your biosystem is not going to be able to keep up with that. So you've got to keep that in mind. We know in natural healing, or in order to not just put Band-Aids on things and really get to the root cause of what your issues are, is to address those directly. So if you do nothing, your life will be shortened. And if it's not shortened, you may be not as capable of doing certain things that you once did before. Or your life may be just this miserable thing that you can't stand to deal with every single day. But the good news is you can change that. So for every year of bad behavior, you figure about 3-4 months of repair. It's biocellular. And when we get down to the biocellular aspects of life, it's not about how smart you are, how well your brain functions, or what you've read or seen on TV, because that works independent from all of the things that we know. And I'll be getting to that more and more as we get into the series, but I just wanted you to realize that what we do now can change our life forever. What we do now can determine how happy we're going to be, how productive we can be, how physically strong we will be, and also our longevity. It just makes sense, doesn't it? That we can't just be freaked out about things and stressed about things and panicking about everything. We have to take proactive steps to succinctly change our behavior. We can't change someone else's behavior, but we can change our own behavior. And by changing our own behavior, we can actually change the behavior of those around us. Not directly, but our attitude will affect those around us. And if we keep a pleasant attitude, most people around us will have no choice but to be pleasant around us. So this can be viral in the sense that it shifts from person to person to person. The type of people we hang out with are the type of people we either are or the type of people we will become. So who we surround ourselves with is very important. The initial steps of this is to really surround ourselves with ourselves, right? Is to be selfish. And I know that sounds like a bad word, doesn't it? To be selfish. But in actuality, I really don't think that people are being selfish enough. And let me explain that to you. If you are 50% selfish, I believe that you're only afforded the ability to be 50% generous. But if you're 100% selfish, you're afforded the luxury of being 100% generous with all others. So you see, if you take that dynamic in that context, that being selfish is the best thing you can do. You know, when I'm talking to the phone on someone, or I'm having a meeting with someone, it's not because I have to. It's because I want to. So it's not an obligation that I don't want to fulfill. It's not an obligation at all. What it is very simple. It's the joy of me wanting to spend time on the phone talking to that person, or having a meeting, or lunch, or dinner. You see, when I'm doing that, I'm being 100% selfish. Now that affords me the luxury of being 100% generous with the people that are around me at that time. So as you can see, being 100% selfish affords you the luxury of being 100% generous. So if we start that with our inner self, then we can begin to radiate that from within outward. Now this is going to do a number of things, because if you do not want to spend time around certain people or talking to certain people, and you remind yourself of how you're going to be selfish, because by giving 100% to yourself affords you that luxury of being 100% generous with others. Think about this, and I know you've all heard this, when someone says, you know, a relationship, when we talk about relationships, is a 50-50 proposition. We each have to give 50-50. When I hear that, I have to laugh, because I say, gee whiz, 50%? 50-50? Well, I kind of feel cheated then, because I wonder where the other 50% is going, and to who, and where, and for what purpose. I believe that if we give 100% to ourselves in selfishness, now that's not a bad word, it's a good word if you take it in this context, then we can give 100% to our partner. And if that partner is giving 100% to themselves, then they can give 100% to you. So it shouldn't be a 50-50 deal, it should be a 100% deal. Because if you love someone, why would you not give 100% to that person? And why wouldn't they give 100% to you? That's the only way it should be, right? So if you're in a relationship and you're getting less than 100%, ask yourself two questions. Am I giving myself 100%? And is that person giving me 100%? And if you're getting a less than 100% from the other person when you're giving 100%, then there may be some issues there, or red flags that you should really think about. So I'm going to leave you off with that thought today about being selfish, about affording yourself the luxury of being 100% selfish, which affords you the luxury of being 100% generous. So right then and there, you're going to exclude a lot of the bottom feeders and lowlifes and trash that you really shouldn't be around anyway. And remember, anyone that doesn't want to give you 100% in the interaction with you, and we see this in all forms. Somebody's reading a paper while you're trying to talk to them. Somebody's watching television while you're trying to talk to them. While you're enjoying a dinner, someone's on their cell phone, looking at their cell phone or texting someone. They're not giving you 100%. So why would you want to give 100% of yourself to that person? Think about that. Now this will begin to change your behavior, because then you become conscious of what other people are doing around you. And if you're not giving 100%, then maybe you need to change that. But if you're giving 100% and you're not getting 100% back, then maybe you need to really just think about who that person is, and do you really want to continue to interact with them. So this is the Great Correction. This is volume 1 of the Great Correction. I hope you got value out of this. I hope this is something that you can chew on a little bit. And we're going to keep drilling down into more and more things. Share this with all your friends. Get the word out. And let's all be 100% selfish so that we can be afforded the luxury of being 100% generous with all people we interact with. Until I see you next time, stay healthy and work on being a 100%er, not a 50%er. It's Rick Nappi saying, stay healthy.